KFAN and the Minnesota Vikings will be live from Shields at Eden Prairie on Tuesday, December 3rd for our annual Toys for Tots broadcast presented by Unreal. We will be collecting donations for Toys for Tots, 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., and we need your help. Be one of the first 50 people to donate a toy each show to receive a KFAN Unreal Winter Beanie. Get all the details at KFAN.com. Keyword toys.
13-14 past here on the Common Man program. I'm Common. He's 10 to be. The legendary Mark Rosen joins us in studio now, our 651 Carpets studio, plus 651 Carpets Plus studio, home of the next day install. And wanted to ask you a question,
yes,
Mark
sir.
Rosen. Saw these interesting numbers. Bodega Cat putting together a career year in New York, now averaging 26.8 points per game, 12.2 rebounds per game, 55% field goal percentage, 50% from three-point range,
That's
85% from the free throw line. Did we make a mistake trading Bodega Cat?
I don't. I think it's way too early to make that assessment.
Okay.
You knew you were trading a high-quality individual, high-quality player who suffered the slings and arrows of a lot of things going on here, personally and professionally, and managed to keep his head held high. And I have the highest respect for Cat for the way he handled himself through all of that, especially dealing with the media and everything else, personal losses with his family, and just the whole gamut. The Jimmy Bucket situation. I mean, all of it. So, I wish him nothing but the best. I wish, I'd hope the Knicks can rise above it all and make some noise come postseason. But, I mean, in terms of the trade and getting Randall and DiVincenzo, it's just too early to tell. They're different players. I mean, you can't compare the two. I mean, Randall is bull in the china shop a lot. And we saw on Sunday he can certainly capable of stepping back and knocking down three-pointers. And I've seen him at his best when I watched, the rare times I watch him play more than a handful of games with the Knicks, and he can be an offensive force in a lot of ways that Cat can't. I mean, they're just different styles of game. And I heard Mike Conley on with the Barrero yesterday talking about that. I mean, just the adjustment period of kind of getting used to what Randall's all about. But I think it's a combo move. I think it's not just for this season, but probably next year in terms of maybe having additional dollars to either allocate to Jaden McDaniel or someone else on the market. I mean, Tim Connolly has a pretty good handle on what he's doing, and I can't question his motives most of the time. He's been pretty successful both here and in particular at Denver, leading him to a championship. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it is the old cliche. I mean, maybe it's going to work out well for both teams, but Cat has his defensive deficiencies. They're not going to go away. They're never going to go away. But that doesn't mean he can't, take the Knicks places they haven't been in a long time. And I'm sure he's already a fan favorite at the Garden. I mean, he's kind of going home again, and playing at the Garden is as good as it gets. I mean, the atmosphere there is second to none. And I think he's probably soaking it all in. I'm sure the fans, you're either going to be in New York, you're either the hero or the villain. It doesn't take very long for the fans to determine which one you're going to be, and I'm sure he's being embraced by New York fans right now.
I'm curious did Big Ticket ask Conley how long this adjustment period would take? That's my question. No one asks it. We hear it out of the locker room after every game. That's going to take a while to gel. Going to take a while. Well, how much is a while? I mean, and I know they can't put an exact number and say it'll be 13 games, but is this going to take till the playoffs before they figure it out, or is it going to next week? I'm really
I think that's an overused.
A little tired of the response.
Listen, using your logic, and which I don't disagree with. I mean, these guys have all been playing basketball for a long time, and I think they practice when they can practice. And they play X number of games, and it's just about the rotation and how Finch is using it. And these guys are, used to all of that. I don't think there's a magic number, a magic date where we got it all figured out. I mean, it's just. I think it's just every team takes on a different. Even if they have almost the same roster, it's never the same almost year after year, even if you have basically the same roster. I mean, if you look at Denver, you look at Dallas, those rosters are pretty well intact. I mean, Golden State's made some adjustments. The Lakers obviously have. I mean, we've talked about it. The West is absolutely loaded with great teams as opposed to the East. And so it's not just a matter of the Wolves, keeping their head above water. It's competing against, I think, other than maybe the Celtics and Cleveland, your Cleveland Cavaliers.
You love that Celtics club, don't you?
Well, I don't know I love them. They're very fundamentally sound.
Do you think they're the best team in the NBA?
I still think they are. I mean, I think they're, until proven otherwise. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, going head to head, I mean, I think they don't play the West all that often. But when they do, they play Golden State, they play Oklahoma City, go down the list, Denver, they can, all those teams, the Wolves even, they can challenge. The Wolves play there this weekend, right? I mean, they play the Celtics. So they can be challenged. I think the Celtics have an easier schedule. For no other reason, the East is pretty weak. I mean, especially with the downfall of the 76ers right now. The Bucks don't look nearly as strong. I mean, Orlando looks good. And of course, the Cavs are the story of the year so far. So, but it's not like the West where you're playing. You're pretty much in a meat grinder every night when you're playing a Western Conference team.
Bradshaw and Brian, KFAN text line 64686. Question for me that says, what's a date you're worried if it's still not gelling? My response was yesterday, but I will say this. When you and I first started working together,
nothing.
It's perfect. First day.
Yeah. It was.
We'd never worked together before.
No.
Matter of fact, when they first asked if I would like to have Mark Rosen with me, I said,
what do I need him for?
Well, my question was, I thought it was because I was paranoid, like radio people are. I thought it was because they thought I thought they thought my show was suffering. I couldn't do it on my own anymore. Right. I said, well, what's the problem? Well, nothing. We've signed Mark. Mm-hmm. We think we'd like to utilize him in a couple of different spots. Mm-hmm. And we think you guys would be a nice match.
Yeah.
And I said, if you think oil and water is a great match, let's give it a try. It was seamless.
It was.
Timothy, how long did it take for you and I to get to gel together? A minute and a half, 2 minutes?
A couple years.
Why does it take so long for these people to gel? You and I did it instantaneously. It was like like Stiller and Mira, Laurel and Hardy,
right.
Abbott and Costello, Sacco and Vanzetti.
Pretty much.
It was beautiful.
And I've worked with the biggest personalities, biggest egos in radio history.
Correct.
In the Twin Cities.
What's that supposed to mean?
No, I'm just saying. I can list them all. I mean, you think, try sitting down with Steve Cannon for, when he's testing you for X number of weeks or whatever it was. Well, what good are you? He was something else. And then we ended up being best friends. Bernard, Cannon, Spoon and Erickson, Sid. I mean, my God. So working with you,
those were the days.
Piece of cake. I mean, my God.
Trading Cat is all built around being able to re-sign Nas to an extension after this current season. They wouldn't have been able to retain Nas if he signs a max deal if Cat was on the roster already having 3 max contracts.
Right.
If Nas is going to get a max deal, it would be on another team if Cat was here having Rudy and Anton max deals. Not saying Nas deserves a max deal, but they still have the option to do so. And I'm glad he threw that in at the end because that's my question. I know we love Nas and he's been very good. I think he's exceeded everybody's expectations. Is he worth a max deal? Is he that good? I mean, I read somewhere, and again, I'm not paying as close attention to Timberwolves. I'm asking you because you watch more than I do. I read somewhere that without Meow, when Gobert's off the floor, they're in trouble under we like to think Randall's a great defender, but it seems like Randall and Nas aren't real good rim protectors. Is that true? Am I wrong?
No, it's not too far-fetched. I mean, but I think Nas...
and I love Nas. I voted for him for president. I wrote him in.
You take him off this roster, and it's a different look. They're considerably weakened with what he's added to his game and his work ethic and what he's trying to accomplish beyond his obvious popularity, which is not the point. But I mean, it's all eye of the beholder. But there are other players that are probably much less talented than Nas they're getting max contracts. So I mean, I think under the umbrella of he's probably due for it. Yeah, I mean, I think that he hasn't slowed down in terms of his approach to the game and his work ethic and the way his teammates feel about him and the fans feel about him, but more importantly, the coaching staff feels about him. So it's a point well taken. I think they want to build. I mean, he's still a young guy, and they want to build a lot around him as well, whether he's coming off the bench or potentially starting more. Then you got the young guys. I mean, I heard Conley, who's, by the way, he may not play tonight. I will see. He's got an ankle. Age is starting to creep on Mike Conley.
Oh, yeah.
The Dillingham kid is starting to, get more minutes, certainly getting a lot more practice time, and Conley talked about him yesterday, and I think we're going to see more and more of him as he kind of grows.
I'd like to see that.
I think a lot of fans would like to see it. I mean, he's got that spark and speed and ability to get to the basket. He's got a lot to learn, but, there's going to be some growing pains, but I think, we're willing to take that chance for maybe 10, 12 minutes a game.
In the never-ending attempt by the local media to always ducky and bunny it up, after the draft, we were told nobody has ever bamboozled the rest of the leagues with less to work with than Tim Conley. That he was able to get Dillingham and who's the other character from
Illinois? Shannon.
Shannon Sharp. No.
Yeah.
Teddy, do you remember the kid's name?
He was
on
G
Illinois.
Right now.
Terrence Shannon?
Terrence Shannon.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, he had a
we were
big
told that
game the other
nobody
night.
could believe we got an A+. No, but that's what they were saying. How brilliant are we? How brilliant is Conley that without anything to work with for draft-wise, we're up against the Captains, and then they don't play? Well, how good can they be then?
Well,
why were those such great drafts?
Because they have better players and more experienced players playing ahead of them.
What's our record?
He's not going to get. Oh, don't go. You sound like a fan in the street.
I'm not being a fan. I know, but
coming back with a comeback like that. What's their record? It has nothing to do with their record. Their record's over 500. No, it doesn't. It has to do with who's ahead of him in the lineup and how he's going to get more playing time.
How is he going to get more playing? How's he going to get any better? How are we going to know?
It's only November.
That's why you should be playing him. It's only November.
Well, he's getting more and more playing time. He's getting a little bit more. A lot
sooner.
No, I don't know about that. I mean, I think there have been times, and I've been critical of Finch for times going, man, I can't believe he hasn't emptied his bench a little bit more, especially in blowouts either way. And they're winning big. Get the kid go out there and play more. I think you'll see that. We may see it more tonight, especially if Conley's hobbling.
If Conley wasn't hobbling, we wouldn't see him at all. He'd get 0 minutes. Like your guy Garza. True. You've been begging for them to play Garza. Garza has a grand total of 6 minutes in his NBA career.
I know.
Why? What's so hard about playing? Is it really like? Is the coach thinking if I put Dillingham in here with an 8-point lead, we're going to be down 16 by the time he gets off the court? You can't give him a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there. I don't understand that.
I do think you can, and I think you'll see that.
One of the biggest criticisms of Tibbs. Remember the Tibbs haters?
Yeah.
And I was not one of them.
Play him to death.
Yeah, they're playing him, they're grinding him into sawdust.
Right.
Well, I don't think the current coach does anything much different, does he? Does he go to 9 men even once in a while? It's usually 8, times. Isn't it?
8 is usually Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Nas.
I don't think it goes much deeper.
No.
We're too deep. We don't have any room.
That's it.
Not enough balls to go around.
That's it. Don't have enough players. Got to ride the pine. We'll pause. Come
Vikings
back.
are doing the same thing with Dallas Turner?
It's the same thing.
He's still going to be a player.
In the XFL or where? I mean,
no, here.
He hasn't even. He was supposed to be.
Who's he going to play instead of Bernard?
He was the best.
Is he going to play instead of?
Well, but can't you rotate guy? If he was supposed to be the best, we were told by the Vikings.
Number
we
one,
bamboozled everybody. He is the best defensive player available.
He's a little lighter than. He's got to put on some weight, get some more strength. Maybe I should send him to my trainer.
You should. And you're stronger now at 75 than you were at 45.
Not 75. And secondly, when you have 3 explosive linebackers, when you have the contributions of Bernard, Van Ginkel, and Cashman, in rushing and passer, and Patrick Jones is having a hell of a year. There's not a lot of reps out there at the moment for him, and let him. Everyone's in a hurry to put people out there and play. He'll have his time.
You think so?
Yes.
For the Argonauts,
the Blue Bombers.
I love the Blue Bombers. So
I know you do.
We'll break, come back, more to get to with Rosen, Common, and 10 to be here on the Fan.
Friday is coming, and for the adults in your life who love the coolest toys, well, there's something for them this year too. Bartesian is the premier craft cocktail maker that automatically makes more than 60 seasonal and classic cocktails, each in under 30 seconds at the push of a button. And right now, Bartesian is having a huge site-wide sale. You can get $100 off any cocktail maker or cocktail maker bundle when you spend $400 or more. So, if the cocktail lover in your life has been good this year, or the right kind of bad, get them Bartesian. At the push of a button, make bar-quality cosmopolitans, martinis, Manhattans, and more. All in just 30 seconds. All for $100 off. Amazing toys aren't just for kids. Get $100 off a cocktail maker when you spend $400 through Cyber Monday. Visit bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.
Mark Rosen's appearance on the Comment program is brought to you by your Twin City Honda dealers. Also, join Meat Sauce this Friday at the Bloomington Verizon store. Stop by from 4 to 6 to join Meat Sauce, meet former Viking John Randall, and enter for your chance to win great prizes. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
You're getting ripped. And rightfully so. Got a number of text messages that have come in, including this one that says,
What's that?
Rosie makes the Hall of Fame and thinks he can look down on fans now. Because when I suggested what's the record, you go, oh, you sound like a fan now. So you're basically ripping the fans.
No, I'm not.
But they don't think as high.
I'm just saying you're shooting from the hip.
Thinkers as you
no,
are.
I'm not suggesting that at all.
Oh.
We owe everything to the fans. But I'm saying...
Hit the backup signal, Tennessee.
No, come on, man. No, I mean, it's just your go-to... It's your go-to thing. What's the standings? That's all. I mean, I'm just suggesting that's...
That's not always my go-to thing. And that
kind of is.
No, but in that moment, it was... If you don't understand...
No, I don't.
Our team's just okay.
Who, the Timberwolves?
Yeah.
Right now, they are. They're a little bit better than okay, but again...
It's early in the year.
And they're playing in a conference that I think is appreciably better than it was even a year ago. The teams that are better than they were a year ago already are probably going to stay up there for a while.
Playing Dillingham will hurt our... Okay.
Well, I don't know that.
We won't know until he plays.
Right. And I think you'll see more and more of him as time goes on.
I'm going to say something controversial.
All right.
That's interesting.
What's his first name? Dillingham?
Rob
Dillingham is going to be the NBA Rookie of the Year.
Oh my gosh.
Good luck with that.
I got goosebumps.
Yeah, I got goosebumps.
What was I going to ask you about the Wild? Well, the Wild. When are they back in action?
Tonight.
Tonight again.
Remember, it's programming predicament.
McDavid.
Oh, that's right. It's Connor McDavid. You're going to be there tonight, right?
No, it's in Edmonton. They're playing Draisaitl and McDavid tonight. So that's on later. It's on at 8.
Draisaitl.
No, I just like saying Draisaitl.
I do too. I love him.
And they're back and they're scoring goals, and it should be a shootout, as they say. Maybe a potential shootout.
Not with our goaltending. Have you seen our goaltending?
No, that's true. But no,
our goaltender is second in... Is it first in goals against and then a save percentage is second in the league? It's something like that. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, after a lull last night, we got a lot of action tonight with the Wolves playing in Toronto, where they never win, and hopefully they can tonight. And the Wild playing later, which is good.
But see, do you think that that they never win in Toronto is because we just can't see? I just think it's a coincidence.
I agree.
I don't think it's because
they're in Canada.
When this franchise is on the road and we just can't beat
sometimes and they don't play that often. I mean, it's always a bit deceiving because it's not like they're playing there 4 times a year, just once a year, I think, basically. So it really doesn't mean anything. They should win tonight, but yeah, you got that going on. I'm not quite sure I'm going to be locked into watching Pittsburgh and Cleveland too much tonight.
PA thinks that Cleveland's going to win that game tonight.
Does he?
I would have bet him, but he left too quickly.
Well, the game's in Cleveland, but I don't see Mike Tomlin. These Thursday night games are unpredictable. I just think you got to keep to the basics. I've seen a lot. We've all seen some pretty ugly football on Thursday nights where teams just do not have that preparation time to get ready for it. But it's the way it is in the NFL. You got to accept it. Every team's got to go through it.
Just had to respond to a text message here that said, people like to go with this because You're really old, and I'm kind of old, and it says,
I'm really old.
you two are grumpy old men, each one of you getting less patient with each other. No, it's a healthy debate.
That's all it is.
Over when we have disagreements on things.
Yeah.
You have an opinion, I have one. We go back and forth with it.
What does age have to do
I don't know what he's saying, because old guys get...
old guys sitting on a park bench.
But what he's saying is that, old people get, it's from the old Grumpy Old Men with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon.
That was a great movie.
What he's saying was. Yeah. Maybe you and I should do it on stage here in the Twin Cities.
You talked about that. I would be too nervous to do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it.
But it has nothing to do with that. It's just, this is really good radio. Trust me. Believe me.
Where else are you going to get this?
Yeah, we go back and forth. Yes. We have a healthy debate on things. I'm going to ask you another question. Let's see if we debate on this.
All right.
Tenneby brought it up in 534. He says Lavelle and, was it Lavelle and who brought it up?
Randball.
And Randball brought it up in a podcast. Mm-hmm. Should the Twins, who have said, that it's been reported that if you're going to see any change on the Twins roster, it's probably going to be a trade. Would you consider trading Carlos Correa?
I think you'd have to. I wouldn't take it off the board. I don't know how happy he is now, other than when he sees his paycheck every 2 weeks. The injury thing has to be a bit of a concern. The lingering plantar fasciitis in his production. Even the year before, when he flourished a bit during the postseason, but didn't have a great regular season, if I recall.
2 years ago, I think that's what.
Yeah, that's right. 2 years ago.
And then last year's regular season was.
Yeah.
This year's regular season was better, was it?
Well, here's the thing. Are the Twins going to get better because they signed Carlos Correa? I mean, the idea was when they signed him, that's going to help put him over the top. They finally got a big name. They remember we went through all the issues with the other teams, with the Giants, and was there one other team that he was going to sign with, the Mets or someone? And it all fell through, and it kind of fell back in the Twins' lap. But now I think when you look at what's going on from ownership on down, this team's not going anywhere this year. And if they could get some young quality players, I don't mean draft picks. I mean, you don't trade them for draft picks anyway, but young quality players, I would entertain that, because they're not going to get any better with Carlos Correa. They're just not. I mean, I know he's a terrific player overall, but I would entertain trade. What are those guys saying?
It depends. I don't know. I just was on a podcast.
I absolutely would. I mean, I think right now I would. I mean, I think it.
I don't think anything's off the board.
No, you can't.
Really, to be honest.
No, I mean,
the only thing I wouldn't do is trade quality pitching.
No,
not going to trade Pablo Lopez, and I'm not going to trade a couple of our.
But in order to get some young arms, or to get something in return, that I would and obviously his salary is detrimental to what the Twins weigh. Right now, so I don't know what advantages you really have. If this team felt like they were going to compete for not only a divisional title but for a World Series, then you keep the guy. He's still I think overall in the prime of his career, but right now, no. I look at it like, look at whatever you can do to build towards the future again. Here we go. Do it, because they're not going to be moving the needle with just having Carlos Correa on this team.
We go from the 651 Carpets Plus Home of the Next Day Install Studios to Lincoln, live to Lincoln.
Oh.
Deuce joins us next. It's Thursday. That means it's time for Spread Swing. That's next, right here on we affectionately call FM 100.3 The Fan.
Friday is coming, and for the adults in your life who love the coolest toys, well, there's something for them this year too. Bartesian is the premier craft cocktail maker that automatically makes more than 60 seasonal and classic cocktails, each in under 30 seconds at the push of a button. And right now, Bartesian is having a huge site-wide sale. You can get $100 off any cocktail maker or cocktail maker bundle when you spend $400 or more. So, if the cocktail lover in your life has been good this year, or the right kind of bad, get them Bartesian. At the push of a button, make bar-quality cosmopolitans, martinis, Manhattans, and more. All in just 30 seconds. All for $100 off. Amazing toys aren't just for kids. Get $100 off a cocktail maker when you spend $400 through Cyber Monday. Visit Bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.
Hold on, here we go. Hey, you can win a family 4-pack of tickets to the St. Paul Ice Fishing and Winter Sports Show, December 6th through the 8th at the St. Paul River Center. Shop the season's best deals, meet the pros, and register for a chance to win the ultimate ice fishing giveaway. Head to KFAN.com. Keyword contest. Enter today. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
That's the voice of Tennessee. Mark Rosen here in Common as well. We're inside the cozy confines of the 651 Carpets Plus Studios, home of the next day install. We now travel live to Lincoln, and I don't know what he was thinking going to Lincoln, but it's my firstborn. It's Deuce. And think about this, Deuce. This is how you've skyrocketed to the top in popularity. This text message came in and said, I moved a conference call so I wouldn't miss Spread Swing.
Wow.
He's changing his business meetings to make sure he hears Deuce, Tennessee, Mark Rosen, and dear old dad.
Well, financially, it's probably better to listen to the segment than just go against Deuce's picks. So.
Wow.
Despite the financial gain, that guy sounds like he needs some long-term psychiatric care, and even then there's very little hope.
Yeah,
But
I
he
tend to
could make
agree.
big by picking against whatever I do, so there's that.
Makes sense to me.
Well.
How are you, my friend? My dear old son. No, I'm the dear old dad. You're my young new. No. What's up, son?
I'm the Zoomer, and you're the Boomer.
That's
I'm the
what.
youngest.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm the Zoomer, and you're the Boomer. I'm just trying to hang in with school. I don't have a ton left to do today, and I might play in some intramural soccer tonight.
What?
So that could be pretty fun. Yeah, there's one of the teams from my fraternity has a double header tonight because we had to reschedule the game so many times that we're basically right at the end of the season. So we're kind of procrastinating that. So I think we're gonna get after it at the Cook Pavilion tonight. Almost as good as the Vine Street field.
Well, here's what I want to do. Let's skip soccer just for a second. You'll be graduating in May and then moving back to the house. You've talked about taking a couple of years to find your footing. I'm not really interested in that. So if there's a bank in the Twin Cities metropolitan area that would like to employ my son sometime in June of next year, please hire him.
I don't want him in the house for 2 years.
I just don't want him there finding his footing for 2 years.
I think it really could be beneficial to just have, a year, 2, 4, 5
Bonding.
years to just kind of hang around and lay low. I got my whole life to be employed.
Listen to him. Please, if you have a job at a bank, please call us. Are we ready? Are we ready for Spread Swing?
Oh, sure.
Spread Swing.
It's been a pretty good spread swing year. I think the four of us is about the best we've ever done. Mark Rosen going into last week, you're in the lead with 145 points. I was in second with 106.5. And that screwed up there. Common, you had 48 going into last week. You were in third. And then Deuce, you were in last at minus 22. But Deuce, you got Deuce points this week. So you made up 2 points. You had Buffalo -2 against KC. They won by 9, so you gained 7 points there. Though you also had Baltimore -3. They lost to Pittsburgh, 18-16.
Hey,
so you lost 5 points there.
+2.
But
Brick by brick.
Yeah.
Brick by brick.
2 points for you is good. Biggest move of the week comes from the common man, Dan Cole.
Really?
You had Detroit -14.
Why didn't you double down on that?
They won 52-6 and gained you 32 points.
Think about it. 32 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you would have doubled down, you might have been in the lead.
There's plenty of time. That's not the
And
last
they had
time.
to settle for a field goal at the end.
That's not the last time they're going to win by 40-plus points. Trust me. Got plenty of time, maybe even this week.
You also won your non-Lions matchup as well. You had
boy.
Indianapolis +4.
That was a no-brainer.
They beat the New York Jets 28-27, so you gained 5 points there. So you gained 37 on the week.
Oh, boy.
All of a sudden, you're up to 85 points.
I've got a message from Mark Rosen and all the rest.
Yeah.
Objects in your mirror may be closer than they appear.
I'm going to slump.
I can't find my spread swing.
Nobody had a roller coaster last week quite like me. It did not start off well for me. I had Cleveland -1 against New Orleans. And they lost by 21, 35-14.
Cleveland.
So I lost 22 points. I was in a -22 hole. Somehow I ended up on the positive side of things, though. Because I had Denver minus 2.5 against Atlanta, and they won 38-6.
Man.
I thought you were one of those guys that thought Bo Nix was a bad pick. Everybody made fun of that Bo Nix pick.
Well, they're starting to throw the deep ball a little bit.
I don't know. Patience. You see, I've been stressing that with Dillingham, with Turner, but, Bo Nix, same thing.
Well, they're playing Bo Nix.
No, yeah, exactly. But it's taken them a while. Never mind. All right, go ahead.
So I actually did somehow gain points last week. I gained 7.5, so I'm now up to 114. I've got a message from Mark Rosen.
Oh, boy.
Just in your mirror, maybe closer than
I struggled last week.
Oh, he had the excuse going on. He goes, "It's really hard to pick games when you're picking last."
Well, I get the scrap heap, but that's okay. I'm not complaining.
I'm gonna have to.
All I know is Common's 6th pick, my 7th pick both hit. So we were at the
Yep.
Your 4th pick could have beaten both of our top 2 picks.
That's true.
Rosen, you lost both of yours last week.
What? Hey, Deuce.
You had Green Bay minus 5. You're lucky they blocked a field goal at the end, or it could have even been worse for you. But
that's true.
They only beat Chicago by 1, so you did lose 4 points on that one.
Well, that's no big deal.
You also had San Francisco minus 6.5. They lost by 3 to Seattle, so you lost 9.5 there.
Oh, worst week of the year.
So all of a sudden, Rosen, you're still in the lead. You're at 131.5.
Oh boy.
I'm right behind you at 114. Commons in striking distance at 85.
Then Deuce
is at minus 20.
Spread swing.
I can't find my sheet.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to have to use yours when you're done. For my second pick. I already know my first pick.
Well, yeah, we all know your first
Any
pick.
bettors tuned in, you better get out your paper and your pen and take careful notes. And this time, you're going to want to bet on what I pick, not the opposite, because the comeback starts now. We had 2 points last week, and it's just going to keep getting better and better and better. And every week that I make these picks, I get so excited on Thursday. I see the picks that I make, and I'm like, maybe I can put some points together. But then I always find myself, I got to wait 2 days, in some cases 3 days for the game. So I'm not waiting. I'm going straight to tonight with the Steelers and the Browns, an interdivision collision. I think the Browns had their moment where they beat the Ravens, and I think that was where Jameis had himself a nice game. But they've come back down to earth. They've got beaten up badly by 2 pretty, Chargers are a good club, but the Saints aren't anything particularly special. The best out of the Chargers, Saints, and this week's opponent, the Steelers, is by far and away the Steelers. They're a very good team, arguably a top 5 team in the league. I think they're going to destroy the Browns. I don't care that it's in Cleveland. I think that them being favored by 3.5 points is outrageous. Yep. I will take the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers minus 3.5 for Deuce.
Spread swing.
Are you next?
You're next. Yep. What could you possibly be doing? Wow.
Despite the fact that I'm disappointed that in their first 7 possessions last week, they scored 7 touchdowns, and they take their foot off the gas pedal and have to set up for a field goal.
Disappointing.
I think that could be a sign of the team is now starting to come back down to earth. Despite that, I'm sure I have to give up 13, 14. I'm not giving up 30 points this week. Is that what they say? It doesn't matter.
7 against
7.
A rejuvenated Anthony Richardson.
It doesn't matter how many points we have to give up. I'm surprised it's only 7. I would have thought it'd be like a 21-point favorite. That's fine. If you want to hand me all those points, I'll take them. The Lions will destroy the Baltimore Colts. I know a lot of people, including PA, Colts are going to win that game. Wishful thinking. The Lions will win. The roar has indeed been restored.
The roar has been restored. What do you think of the Lions now?
Spread swing.
The New York Giants have made a quarterback change. They are benching Daniel Jones, and they have opted for Tommy DeVito, I believe his name is.
Correct.
And what I find interesting is before the season, DeVito was the number 3 quarterback. Mm-hmm. Drew Lock, who they signed in free agency, was the number 2 quarterback. They have decided to bypass their number 2 quarterback and go right to DeVito, which means one thing. The New York Giants are in tank mode. They are trying to lose. They want to have a top 5 pick in the draft. They want to get that franchise quarterback. They want to get Shedeur Sanders to pair up with Malik Neighbors. They're not trying to win. And Drew Lock basically admitted that yesterday He said it without saying it. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, they're still in the mix. They might be getting Mike Evans, their number one wide receiver, back this week. So they are minus 5.5 on the road, but I'm going to go with
Tampa Bay. Spread swing.
Well, another team that's on paper tanking and just looking awful. I think they're ready to move back to Oakland. The Raiders are awful. And you mentioned Bo Nix. The Denver Broncos, after a slow start, are coming on like gangbusters. They can smell the postseason. Their defense is really good. Nix has been playing better. They got a lot on the line in this game, and I don't see them letting up. I think the Denver fans will outnumber the Vegas fans in Vegas. I have to give 6 points, but I'm more than happy to do that with that Denver defense. I don't think Vegas scores more than, a touchdown. So I'll take Denver minus the 6 against the Raiders.
Spread swing.
One of the better games this week will be happening in Seattle. It's a critical NFC West interdivision collision with the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Arizona Cardinals. I think this Arizona team is a big sleeper in the NFC. I think they could be poised to make a postseason run. They ain't getting past the kiddies in the postseason, but I think they're a very solid club. I know it's in Seattle and the 12th man and all that, but Arizona's coming off a bye and they just dismantled New York. They're coming off of a couple wins, I believe. I think they've won like 3 or 4 straight. They found their groove, and I don't expect them to take their foot off the gas anytime soon. I don't like taking away teams very much, but I mean, you guys have seen how my usual prediction strategies have been working. I'm rapidly approaching the Mendoza line, so I got to change the game plan a little bit. I'll take Arizona +1 in Seattle.
Spread swing.
I peeked over your shoulder to get to my next game. Philly is playing on the road.
They're -3 at the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, I love the Rams. I like Matty Stafford and such like that. But I do feel as though Philadelphia at 8-2. We talked earlier. We were looking at the power rankings, and ESPN's power rankings. They'll always have a little question to go along with it. And there was preseason before the season started, hot seats, and where is that seat right now? And had Nick Sirianni on the hot seat because Philly was 10-1 last year, lost 4 or 5 in a row, ended up losing in postseason. They were terrible. Obviously, they're very good. He's 8-2. I like the way they're playing. I like the Rams, but it wasn't 2 weeks ago where they really struggled in a game, and I don't even think they scored any tutties. So, I like Philadelphia. I think they're for real. As much as I like the Rams, but they just run too hot and cold. I'm going to take Philadelphia and give up the points.
All right.
So Philadelphia -3 at Los Angeles.
Spread swing.
I'll be honest with you. I'm very tempted to go Dallas +10 at Washington.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with the Vikings-Bears game. The Vikings are favored by 3.5 points.
You sniped Rosen.
In Chicago? Not necessarily, because he might take the homer pick. I'm going to be taking the opposite pick. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears +3.5. I think Chicago is going to win this game outright. They've been... I really think the Minnesota Vikings, because KOC is an absolute genius, and we need to extend him right now. I know Chicago's had some devastating losses, but they've been very competitive in all these games. We've seen it over the years. Regardless of how bad the Bears have been, weird things happen in Chicago. You got the elements. I believe they do call it the Windy City. It's an outdoor game.
Right. No kicker.
The other thing here is, Sam Darnold kind of hurt his foot/ankle last week in Tennessee. He ended up playing the rest of the game, so I don't think we've really talked about it, but he did pop up on the injury report this week. He was limited the other day. That looked like a kind of a, I don't want to say significant injury, but it looked like something that would bother you for a while. I don't think that thing's going to be fully healed going into this game. I think that's going to have an impact on his mobility, and I think we're going to see multiple turnovers from the Vikings offense and Sam Darnold, because that Bears defense has been pretty darn good all season long. So I'm going to go Chicago. I know I'm not playing to the audience right here, but I'm going to go Chicago +3.5 against our purple.
In all likelihood, it's going to be a field goal game either way. I mean, that's just the way we all know how those things end up. And their Vikings practice outdoor. And look, Josh Oliver's not going to likely play. He's going to be out.
No, he's out.
Speaking of LA teams,
Spread swing.
I don't see, this is the Harbaugh brothers going at each other again. And I just don't see the Ravens losing 2 in a row. They were so frustrated last week. And I know it's in SoFi, but and the Chargers have a very good defense, and I like watching their quarterback play. And it's the Harbaughs, but I'm going with Baltimore. I don't see them losing again. 2 in a row, and they've got to win this game. This is a huge game for them. And obviously the Chargers still have something on the line as well. But I'm going to go with Baltimore and Derrick Henry and company and Mr.
Very
Jackson.
Good.
Minus 2.5 over the Chargers.
And there we have it. Their spreads.
That's it.
Yep.
Deuce, I wanted to ask you a question. You say tonight you're playing soccer, correct?
Yeah.
So your goal on the Vine Street fields during intramural football, you got teed up. You got a excessive celebration penalty, unsportsmanlike conduct, and you were trying to get another one, and you weren't able to do it.
Yeah.
You did everything you could.
Yeah.
You might be the first.
Everything I could.
You might be the first person in the history of the University of Nebraska, right, to get a unsportsmanlike conduct in football. Can you get a red card tonight in soccer? No, it's never been done. There's never been an unsportsmanlike in flag football and then in intramural soccer to get a red card. Can you do it?
Oh, it's doable. If I just hit now, I'd prefer to do it with a goofy celebration or just doing something so excessive and so ridiculous that I get the card. I'd rather not do it by doing some egregious slide tackle. But if that's what it takes, maybe it's what it takes, as long as I'm not hurting anyone,
right.
Obviously. But if I manage to get an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty in football and a red card in football, they better hang my jersey in the rafters, pavilion, and name the Vine Street Fields after.
Oh, I'd be proud of you if you could do it. So let me know how that goes. What's the weather like for tonight's game? What's it like in Lincoln?
Well, luckily the game is in the Cook Pavilion.
Okay.
Thank goodness, because it's like right now it's mid 40s outside, low 40s, so it's a little warmer than up in Minnesota, but it's winter. The sparse 60-degree days, even low 70s, they're done. So it's time to hunker down for winter here.
All right. Well, hey, good luck to you. Thanks for joining us in Spread Swing. We'll see you. Is Thanksgiving
next Thursday?
Yes.
So we'll probably have to do this next Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll probably do this Wednesday.
I'm going to be gone Wednesday, too.
You're going to be gone. We might have to do it Tuesday.
I can maybe call her in.
Yeah, you can call her in. And Deuce can call on the way back because he'll be driving back into town. He's got a busy one. Then aren't you going to go to aren't you going to Madison for the Gopher game?
Battle of the Axe.
He's going to go to the Axe. He's going to the Axe.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's coming home for Thanksgiving. Then on Friday he'll go to watch the Axe and the whole thing there.
Yeah, that's
all right, me boy.
Friday.
Thanks. Be careful tonight. Don't get injured and see if you can get that red card.
Yes, will do. I'll do my darndest. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care.
I'll see you next week. Very good. That's Deuce. Live from Lincoln. What's he thinking?
Right.
Going to Lincoln.
Later.
You think a field goal, you like the Vikings? I'm picking the Vikings. I think if Darnold plays like he did, if he doesn't turn the ball over, which I'd expect he's not going to, I think that defense is enough for the young kid. Caleb Williams is good, but this defense does confuse the young guys with all the different things they do. I'm not saying he's going to lay an egg, but I think the Vikings defense will play well enough, and as long as Darnold doesn't turn it over, I think the Vikings have a comfortable win.
It's the one constant. Obviously, they gave up the 98-yard bomb on a miscalculation by the D-back, but I mean, overall, their defense has just been so good. What a pleasant surprise! And then, again, I mentioned the 3 linebackers being the biggest impact, and they've caused a lot of havoc. And it's a guessing game that with a new offensive coordinator who's adding a little more zip to a Bears team, but that. If the Vikings can jump on them early in this game, I mean, the Bear fan base is so disgruntled right now, mostly at management and at the head coach in particular. So that will give them an opportunity to kind of put the hammer down. But I don't see it being a runaway. It rarely, if ever, is in Soldier Field unless you get a bunch of turnovers. Here's an idea for the Vikings. Don't turn the ball over early in this game. They did even last week, and they were lucky they gave up not lucky, but they gave up the 3 points, but they're chasing already. Stop it. Stop doing that. But yeah, I like the Vikings to win and a close one. And on the road, then they finally get back home after 3 straight road games.
We'll talk to you
Tuesday. Yes, sir.
At 2 o'clock. The legendary Mark Rosen. Teneby, thanks for
Actually, he'll
having
be
me.
back tomorrow for Broken Password.
Broken Password, so we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The return.
Yeah, the return of Mark Rosen. Teneby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
We enjoyed our visit with you today. We appreciate you spending part of your day with us. Stick around. Boys, Pals, Professional, Dan Barrero, Big Ticket, JG. They're next right here in the Fan.
Enjoy the season. Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota.
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
He's a rube.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.